The title of this is crazy. Myron versus Fat Feminist and OF Girl Heated Debate. Myron, that's a crazy title, bro.
I'm almost 40 years old. You know what I mean? I'm a high value
Crazy
woman,
title.
Myron. But
Are you married?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm married. No, because you guys are all. Shut up, dude.
A 40-year-old woman is saying she's high value. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Oh, you know what?
40 years old and two?
Sorry.
Holy.
Myron has to be stopped, bro. Myron has to be stopped.
The reason why guys have a vested interest in a woman not being a is because if she's not a, we know the child's ours.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
girls can
self-defense
say the
mechanism.
same thing in reverse, where they don't want a guy with a lot of sexual partners because that's going to divert his resources away from her. So you can make the Evo psych argument. Outside this red pill world, most guys find it they find it weird if a girl at my age is a virgin. Like, I lost it at 26.
I find it interesting that you mentioned, oh, I was a virgin. Why did you lead with that? Because you understand that your value as a partner is intrinsically tied to your body count.
Yeah.
That's why you mentioned it.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to rehash back to the dating topic because I thought that's what we're supposed to be talking about
That's
today.
what I thought, dude.
I talk with a lot of young people, and I know one of their biggest concerns while dating somebody is their body count. Can we go down the line and say how many bodies is 2 bodies for me to want to date the opposite sex? Or
I feel
whoever my
like when
partner
you
would
get
be?
over
Can
a
we start
certain
with you?
age, it doesn't matter because that's what you think about.
Okay, so no cap.
I'm almost 40 years old. If you're worried about how many people your partner slept with,
Yeah, but he's talking about young people who have a plan on eventually starting a family. And when you're younger, you're dating differently than you would if you were 40 years old already. The standards are going to be different for somebody who's trying to start a family. So I don't think this applies.
Yeah,
production team's gonna have a lot
I
of
don't
bleeping
really
to do.
care how many people somebody has slept with. What I care about is, what's inside.
Oh, brother. I gave my body to them, but you can have my heart. Oh, brother.
And how they treat me. So
Realistically, if your partner or somebody who you were interested in slept with, ridiculous.
obviously, if somebody slept with 1,000 guys, I'd have a lot of questions for her.
Okay.
That would be a little.
What does it
But
feel
you'd
like?
still be open
But
to
for the
pursuing.
most part, in a general term, if I met somebody that went through times in her life, like the female version of Wilt Chamberlain, for example,
I don't know if that's the exact same thing.
But obviously, I would have questions. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not the end-all, be-all for me.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think for me, it's about inconsistency. So like I said, the guy I'm with right now, he was my first body, but up until then, I'd meet a lot of guys who would fetishize that I'm a virgin. I think it.
Well, we're talking about what guys like. Were they fetishizing the fact that you were a virgin, or do guys just like the fact that you were a virgin? And you're just saying that they were fetishizing that because it's something that they like that you don't like that guys generally like. I wonder, how does she delineate between the two? How do you know they just didn't like that fact about you? But she also does OnlyFans too. So this is a woman, by the way, guys, who does debates, but she's a virgin who does OnlyFans, and she promotes sex work as a positive in society.
All right.
Okay. And for me, if a guy has a super
doesn't
high
matter.
body count, but they want a girl who's a
Promise it
virgin or
doesn't.
has a low body count, for me, that's a bigger red flag than just a guy who has a high body count.
Sure. Tim?
Wait, why is that a red flag? Why would I want to be with a girl that's a...
Because I think
That's
if you're
a red flag.
I think a valid reason for wanting someone with a low body count is pair bonding, and that applies for both sexes. So if both of them have a higher body count or one of them does, that's going to disaffect pair bonding. So I would say that
she's
guy
right.
doesn't have a valid
Peer
reason.
bonding thing, that's the dumbest thing I've
Yeah,
ever
that
heard.
is
They don't have to believe in it,
Dumbest.
but I'm just saying if that's his belief, like he's a Christian or he's religious, and so he also keeps a low body count, then for me that's a more valid.
Well, keep your beliefs consistent. You don't have to fold your beliefs because the feminist hive mind doesn't agree with objective reality. Because what she's saying is true. She said the most valid reason, or the valid reason that guys have, is your body count before marriage affects your longevity in marriage and your happiness level in marriage. And there are plenty of studies that says that that is objectively true. But because the feminist hive mind didn't agree with her, she felt like she had to backpedal on something that she knows is true.
I am so glad I don't live in your guys' universe. My wife and I have known each other for over 20 years,
Yeah.
and
Wait.
this never was a thing.
Tim, you don't watch any porn.
How
Come on.
long have you been and your wife been
It's a
together
weird
for?
question.
So we've known each other about 20 years. We dated around the time we first met, and then we had kind of like a, I don't know, like a millennial on-off thing for the whole time, and then...
So this is a weird. It's even a weird concept, I think, because for me, like, who gives a fuck? I don't even. I'm almost 40 years old. You know what I mean? I'm a high value woman, Myron. But it doesn't.
Are you married?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm married. No, because you guys are all. Shut up, dude.
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
Shut up.
No.
Bro, I'm not going to lie, bro. And this is gender specific. But not necessarily. This is really something that's nationwide at this point in America. People have gotten very comfortable disrespecting people. And I think it's because people are starting to get used to communicating online. But the fact that she's telling a grown man to shut up, if as a man I told another man to shut up, I would have to be willing to deal with what comes with that. But because a lot of ladies don't understand violence and they don't have the threat of violence, there are a lot of ladies who are just starting to be too comfortable disrespecting people. You don't got to tell nobody to shut up. I wouldn't do that. When you do that in the man's world, you got to deal with what comes with that. And I think that garners a certain level where we operate at a certain level of respect with each other. People have just gotten very comfortable being disrespectful, in my opinion.
No one's shut up, dude.
A 40-year-old woman that's saying she's high value. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Oh, you know what?
40 years old and too
sorry,
holy.
I don't listen to the way that Muslims think about anything, so shut up.
You need the guidance.
No, I think you need the guidance.
You need to stop eating pigs.
I'm on her side.
You clearly eat too much ham.
Wait. Was there,
You eat way too much
a
ham.
question for me or something?
A question? No. It's,
No, you're saying. No, but we were
Stein,
talking
body
about.
I would not be with a girl if she's banging.
I'm just saying.
If it's more than two hands.
All right, let me take
like
this.
more
Let me
than
take this.
two
This
hands.
is my.
Seriously,
Let me.
Seriously, I mean, yeah.
More than 2 bodies is no good for you?
No, more than 10. Like
More
if
than
it
10.
had
Yeah,
over
now,
double,
here's the
there's
thing.
no
like,
way.
this is a personal thing with each guy, right? So they all have their number, and that's fine. But what I will say is that most guys are going to have problems with women that have a very promiscuous past. That's just the reality. It's a biological reality.
No, it's not.
So
Well,
What about men?
And that's the part that a lot of people don't look at. Of course, there's the biological reality that men before paternity tests didn't have any proof of paternity, so they had to rely on the woman's word. But then what Myron's saying here is pointing out something even bigger. There are issues when it comes to dealing with promiscuous people that don't even necessarily have to deal with the fact that they slept with other people. For example, if you're promiscuous, you probably got some type of drug habit or you drink regularly. That's probably going to be a part of it because generally speaking, when women are hooking up with guys or being promiscuous with guys, they're not in a sober mind. So there are other problems that come associated with the type of person that ends up being promiscuous. A lack of self-control, especially to something you have access to all the time as a woman. If you've shown that you have no sexual discipline in the past, how am I as your husband can rely on you to be sexually disciplined in the future, especially if that's something you've already decided to indulge in multiple times? It's like a crackhead always having the ability to smoke crack, and you're supposed to just trust that now they've changed. You know what I mean? So there are other aspects that go into play when it comes to dealing with a promiscuous person that doesn't necessarily attach itself to their past directly, even though that's also a factor. But yeah, you got to think of the type of person. It's a lack of discipline issue. It's an indulgence issue. You're probably also addicted to male attention to some degree. So the attention of one man doesn't satisfy you because you're so used to getting or garnering specifically sexual attention from various other guys. So there are other issues that come into play when it comes to dealing with a woman who's promiscuous. Let's be honest here.
How about women
No,
that have a
it's
problem
not.
with men? It could go both ways, can't
You know
it?
it's not. And
Well,
here's
they
the
don't
problem.
because we
No,
asked them to,
no,
and they said that it was uncapped, right? So
Some women
apparently-
don't want to be with men that are.
Double standard though, where a guy that
Yes.
has a lot of sex is valuable, and a woman
A
that has
man
a lot
that
of
can
sex.
have a lot of
Key
sex.
analogy,
Here's the
Myron.
thing.
Well, that's called
A man.
misogynistic.
The analogy is, a key that opens many locks is a master key versus a lock that opens any key is a shitty lock. But the
A soccer player who scores 100 goals is a good soccer player, but a goalie who lets in 100 goals is the worst goalie ever.
reality is that if a man has a lot of sexual partners, he's doing something right because it's not easy for men to get sexual access. But if a woman has, hold on, let me finish. But if a woman has a lot of sexual partners, she's definitely doing something wrong because the reality is men must create their value to get sexual access versus women need to preserve their value because as soon as they turn 18, they can get any guy that they want. And so if they go ahead and gamble it away and spend their, youth and time being a it's going to hurt them later on. That's literally the basis as to why we were talking about before her OnlyFans shit is going to up. Despite the fact that she's saying I'm a virgin or whatever, the fact that she does sex work in general does inherently lower her value because men look for purity. It's one of the most important things we look for when looking for a mate.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy because if you have a certain opinion that comes from a feminist mindset about men and then you do sex work, the only type of men that are going to be attracted to that type of lifestyle is a very specific type of man, and it's just going to validate everything that you may think about men because the type of men that approach you or communicate with you or are willing to deal with you is going to be that type of man. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy when you start to indulge in that side of life because she's a virgin that does OF. You're going to attract a very niche type of guy. You're gonna attract a very niche type of guy.
If you guys don't want to understand biology, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Yes, it's because
There are rich, ugly guys
And the
that
reason why you just mentioned a child, that's the primary reason. We must ensure paternity. And
Yeah,
before
right. Yeah.
before the advent of paternity tests, we had to kind of take the woman's word.
Yeah.
So the reason why guys have a vested interest in a woman not being a is because if she's not, we know the child's ours.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
girls can
self-defense
say the
mechanism.
same thing in reverse, where they don't want a guy with a lot of sexual partners because that's going to divert his resources away from her. So you can make the Evo psych argument. And
Yeah, but that's still arguing that the promiscuity isn't the problem in and of itself. If you get what I'm saying. With men, the attachment to childbirth or the paternity issue it's directly tied to promiscuity. What she's saying is that basically a woman is willing to put up with it as long as the guy has enough resources to also provide for her kid. She's kind of proving this point by saying that women generally care more about the resources and access to resources than they do the direct promiscuity like men do.
That way?
She kind of proving
Yeah.
this point.
Oh, because
Was your boyfriend
I
a
just
virgin?
asked and I
Wait,
thought-
I'm not
real
talking about
quick.
his sexual
Dude,
history.
dude,
I'm not going to talk about his sexual history, but I will say prior to
He's
him,
a
all
lot of
my
chicks,
exes,
hasn't he?
all my exes before him were Christian conservatives. They all kept low body counts. A lot of them were also valuing waiting till marriage.
Okay,
whatever.
here's
so I
the
will say
difference.
that. So I'm
Here's-
just saying
this
it's
is-
fine
this is
to
the
have that
ridiculousness of
standard.
female-
I'm just saying if
It
you're
is a
gonna
double standard. That's the way it should be.
I'm saying
Men
girls
live life
don't
on hard
actually
mode.
want
Women live life
promiscuous
on easy
guys.
mode.
Girls
This
just,
is why.
Okay,
dude,
can I finish?
Women literally
Girls
live life
don't
on
want
easy
guys.
mode
Oh my God.
when it comes to sexual access. I find it interesting that you mentioned, "Oh, I was a virgin." Why did you lead with that?
Right.
Because you understand that your value as a partner is intrinsically tied to your body count.
Yeah.
That's why you mentioned
Yep,
it.
and she mentions it everywhere she goes because it's the selling point for her OnlyFans because she knows that it's something that guys desire. When a woman wants to insult a man, what does she do? She talks about the fact that he doesn't have access to women. She calls him an incel. When a woman wants to insult a woman, she calls her a slut. So we're even attacked on this double standard differently, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, it is a double standard, but nature has double standards. For example, if somebody breaks into the house, I have to be the one willing to go fight, or I'm going to be called a coward. That's just a double standard in nature. Men generally have to do the courting, the paying for dates. Those are all double standards. There are plenty of double standards that benefit women, but this is one that doesn't, and this is why it gets so much outrage, because it's a double standard that doesn't benefit women.
No,
Now,
because you brought up my
guys,
boyfriend being
here's
a
Here's
and
the
I'm saying the
thing.
definition of someone who watches
Here's
their
the cut.
girlfriend get other
But
men.
again,
I'm saying by your
but
definition,
that's
he's
the
obviously
point.
not a if you swipe my
point
V
is-
card, you
the
dumbass.
point
That's not why I
is-
led
hold
with
on,
it.
hold on,
Second
hold
of
on,
all,
hold on, woman, hold
women
on.
do often
See,
care
this
about
is
a guy's
why- bro,
promiscuity.
why is she still
Women
talking?
do care about
Why is
guys'
she still
promiscuity.
talking?
They suck it up most of the time.
Here's
Because
the
like
thing.
the reason I said you can make the Evo site
Your
argument
body
in
count,
both ways.
your body count mattered way more to him than his body count matters to you. Because women understand, hey, guys are going to have a body count. It is what it is. If anything, men with higher body counts tend to be attractive because they have social proof, they demonstrate higher value, and they're able to be attractive to other women.
Well, women tend to like men that other women like. Sometimes for no other reason other than the fact that other women like them. Let's be like, we got to live in reality. We got to be honest about these things.
Versus on your totem pole, you care more about his status, how he looks, what he does. He's caring about, okay, is this chick a virgin? You literally said,
No.
I gave him my virginity. What does that imply?
It's funny because outside this red pill world, most guys find it like they find it weird if a girl at my age is a virgin. Like I lost it at 26. Outside
But I
of the
think
red
there's a
pill,
difference between like virgin and like 50 plus bodies.
No, I
that'll-
think they find it weird when you say that you're a virgin and you do OnlyFans. I think that's when they find it weird. I don't think they find it weird because you just are a virgin. I don't know any men that make fun of women for being virgins or think that it's weird. They might think that it's odd because it's uncommon nowadays, but outside of that, it's not like they're picking at you or anything.
a lot of like men
I
are
guess my
struggling to
point
find
is, like,
women who
most
that-
guys
and
I
you
speak
value
to-
your
They'll
virginity.
find it weird, but they won't.
It's not about virginity
They'll
in
find
terms
it
of
weird, but
chastity.
they're not
It's
going
about
to leave
not
the
wanting
girl
to
for
just
it.
get pressured
of all-
into sexual experiences just because society says you have to, just because they're like, oh, well, you're an OnlyFans, so you might as well let it go. I don't subscribe to that. I can
is
still
there-
wait if
you
I
guys
want
a
to.
Is there an
question?
amount of money you
No
could
questions.
make that would retire you
yelling
from
over
your
each
sex
other.
work?
If so, I've already made it. So no, I'm
Can
going
I
to
ask
keep
you a
going for a
question,
while.
sir? I'm sorry, what was your name again?
A lot.
Would you rather be allowed?
Shout out to the boys. Go
Did he
for
say
it.
Benjamin Netanyahu? I didn't hear what he just
A
said.
lot,
Would you
Eliyahu.
rather be with a woman who treats you like shit, who doesn't do anything for you, who's terrible in bed, but has only been with one or two men in her life? Or would you rather be with someone who has been with 1,000 men, but treats you fantastic, respects you, doesn't cheat on you, and is a loving person?
Or
What would you
I
rather?
think it would be honest. Number one, those are not mutually exclusive. There are also women that treat you well and that actually like you that don't have an extensive sexual history. But also, let's be honest about this. Usually, the ladies that have the sexual history tend to be more disrespectful, tend to be more likely to cheat on you. And that's actually statistically backed in terms of the cheating part. Now, the disrespectful is anecdotal in my experience, but yeah, these are all things that come with that type of lifestyle. So if we're being honest about this argument, usually it's the opposite way around.
Well, you always
answer
want
that
to be a
question.
loving
I
person.
feel like
That's not
frankly
even
neither.
a good
That's-
comparison.
Let him answer.
This is
Let me
right.
he said neither.
I'd say neither.
Okay, so you can't
you say
choose
both?
between the two? You're telling me you'd rather have somebody that treats you like shit,
Because-
maybe, than
I'm-
someone
All
who
right,
slept
so
with
let me take this. Let me take this. See, here's the thing. I would take the girl that's 1 or 2 bodies, and I'll tell you why.
that treats you like crap.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
As a man,
insane.
your job. Let me explain. As a man, your job is to turn your woman into basically your follower. She's your assistant. Your job is to make her be useful
that's
to
the way
you.
a misogynist
You're gonna
thinks.
come in and train her. Okay,
misogyny.
so let me ask. It's misogyny.
Yeah.
Okay. So explain
It
to
is.
me, why do women want a guy that's taller, makes more money,
Not
has
every
more
woman
status,
wants that.
dominant,
No,
assertive?
and in fact, a lot of them don't.
The majority
No,
of
they
women
don't.
Cap.
overwhelmingly
The majority do.
look for
They don't.
status.
They want a short, broke guy. That's what they look for in a
like
man.
the majority of women.
Myron, you're tall, you're
overwhelmingly-
single.
Hold on. The overwhelming majority of women wants a guy that's taller, stronger,
You don't
more
speak for
competent,
women, dude.
and is a leader.
Wait, wait.
That's the
Hold on.
truth. It's
That's a
biology.
fact. We're not
That's a fact.
No, it's
Yeah.
really
It's a
not.
fact. It's a
It
literal
is a
fact.
fact.
Every
Like-
woman has
It's not a
different.
fact for you because
And then there's always the guy with the cool hat that looks talented. They always wear clothes that make them look talented. That's talking about, oh, these guys are bad for having standards. You guys should pick me. It's basically what he's saying. Come on now. Ain't nothing wrong with a man that don't want a woman that's been around the block. What's wrong with that? And then people treat it like you got to explain it. Like, why would you ask a fish, why does it like water? You don't ask that question because it's just a part of the fish's nature. We don't ask women why they like taller guys when a 5'2" woman says, I want a guy that's over 6 feet tall. We don't, because we know it's a part of their nature. So why do men have to always try to explain something that's obviously a part of our nature? You don't ask a dog why it barks. It's just a part of us. It's a part of us that some women don't like. Generally, the women that it disqualifies, they are typically the ones that have a problem with it. But either way, just because you don't like reality doesn't mean it isn't reality. And he keeps calling Myron a misogynist for pointing out objective reality. Men don't like women with high body counts. You hate women. 2 + 2 = 4. You hate math. That would just be stupid to say because objective reality, pointing out objective reality doesn't signify hatred. It's just the truth.
old now. But the
Yeah.
reality is, you don't have the same ability to command a higher status guy. That's why you got to
Right.
call yourself
Oh,
a high
yeah,
value
you're
woman.
right.
Well, just,
Yeah.
to be fair,
A high value
there's-
woman is a woman that can get a
Right.
high value guy to lock her in and take his last name.
Right.
So ridiculous.
Women
You
get
guys
their
don't
value
really believe
from the
this
men
shit,
that they're
do you?
with. Men get their value based on what they provide to society. We are not the same, okay?
Right,
Men
yeah.
are evaluated completely differently than women are.
Ladies and
Don't let
gentlemen,
these over
Myron is
here
so
try to
popular on
change your
social
mind.
media. He
Yes,
says
because
the
I
most
tell the truth.
ridiculous- No,
This
you
is-
don't. No, you don't.
Elizabeth,
This is
Say
Elizabeth,
things for
where's
clicks.
Elizabeth? Is Elizabeth here?
Misogynist.
we got
Everybody got
that bitch tell
misogynist
you
man.
guys what to
Best
be
White House
attracted.
reporter.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
You stop listening
There's
to Muslim
reason.
ideologies.
Hold
That's
on,
exactly
hold on.
where you're
Yeah.
There's
coming
a reason.
Mr. Sharia
There's
law.
a reason.
Sharia-
Muslim ideologies, like it wasn't that way for all of human history, almost cross-culturally. In terms of expectation of virginity, it was literally that way 70 years ago until the sexual revolution. That was the standard just 70 years ago. It has nothing to do with Islam or Sharia law. That's cross-cultural in most places of the world.
That's exactly what it is, dude.
You-
Women only
you-
want
you
tall
need a
guys
diet
with
law.
money.
Anyway,
Oh, shut up,
there's
dude.
a reason.
Fucking hairpiece.
There's a reason guys like me and
Oh,
Andrew Tate,
right.
etc.
Yeah,
grew up
right.
because we're saying what all men are thinking.
Oh, right.
We don't want annoying,
Yeah.
crass women
Right.
like
From the
this
single guy.
trying to tell us what it is.
Right.
We know what we're attracted to, and these on the left try to tell you guys,
Right.
no, you should want a woman that's
Right,
you
listen
should
to
want
him.
a girl.
Never
He's
said
doing
that.
well, dude.
Never said that.
Like,
Never
no,
said
thank
that.
you. We don't
Never
want
said
that.
that.
All right, we got
Apparently
someone.
women don't
we don't
want
want
you.
that.
You're
We got-
single.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, we got someone up here. Who
All
it
right,
is?
Elizabeth, you
Yeah.
asked a question, but give us your opinion on the question.
So I will say this, one of the biggest problems we have in our society right now is testosterone.
Right.
Yes.
That
Encourage
clear.
the
it's
men
true.
in here, if you
It
have
is,
not
yeah.
had your testosterone levels checked, you should.
Yeah, Myron.
And the
take
problem
note.
is that as women, as men are
You're a
losing
circle.
testosterone.
You're literally a circle.
Come on, hold on.
No, Myron,
What
you,
afterwards,
you know I
Myron,
love
we
you,
can, dude.
and I support everything you say and do. I'm.
So you believe women are second-class citizens?
Let her finish.
Yeah, my problem
Okay,
is,
well,
is
that's
that
absurd.
men are not stepping up. Their testosterone levels are low. Like Brian.
All right, come on down. Come on down here real quick.
No, she's right. There was a study that said from 1979, the average man has lost on average 1% testosterone per year. So a 25-year-old man in 2025 has approximately 35% less testosterone than the average man his exact same age in 1979. This is a huge issue. Male sperm count, or sperm count in general, is down 60% now. So what she's talking about is a real issue. Men are just systematically becoming weaker. A lot of it's tied to not getting any vitamin D, obesity rising, eating horrible foods, just different lifestyle choices that men could fix if we all decided to. But yeah, she's right. Testosterone levels are dangerously low. You guys can look up studies on that stuff.
Come up.
Yeah.
Come on, no, walk up here. You come on. You're like, this way. Listen to the words I'm saying. Walk up here. God, it's like
She said, did she say my testosterone levels were low?
Sit there.
She did.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be happy to
Sorry
tell
to
you that
say,
I
dude.
actually saw a doctor 6 months ago, and I had some blood work done, and they were actually too high. Did
And
you
you
know
found
that
out you're
bald
gay.
men have an
The
average?
fact that you feel
Tim
like
knows a
you
little bit
have to
about that.
justify yourself
Tim
tells
knows a
me
little
you
bit
have a
about that.
testosterone problem.
More testosterone, yeah.
Okay.
Do I have low testosterone because I don't think people like you are second-class
No, because
citizens?
all of us
like this
had to
bigot
be
fool over here?
subject to you hitting on Myron this whole
That's
time.
what it
It's
is, I'm
really
hitting on him,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
It's weird.
That's what it is.
It's weird.
Boom
Really
roasted.
That's what it is.
I
Yeah,
was
you're
actually
right.
harassed by this leprechaun.
Yeah. That's what it is. I'm hitting on a bigoted fool. Like
But Brian,
Myron.
does
Great
that make
point.
your
That's
brain-
why I have low testosterone.
Bro, it's
Great
literally
point.
the Lucky Charms, for
Great
real.
point.
But Brian,
I
can
I
you
have more luck with
comprehend
women
that?
than you do, apparently.
But real quick, Brian, is it really that hard for you to comprehend that she has this opinion as a woman? I mean,
As a woman, to make an assumption about somebody,
And she
because
doesn't
hold
say
on, let me
assumption.
finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let her answer. Let her answer.
It's
It's
not an
definitely
As a
an
assumption.
woman,
assumption.
excuse me, you're not
It's
a doctor.
definitely
You
an
have no
assumption.
medical degree, so be quiet and let me finish.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Now he sounds like Myron.
Maybe this is making you feel like a man.
Finish.
That's okay.
For you to
Anything
hold
you
on,
need
stop.
to feel like a
Be quiet
man.
and let me finish.
You gotta say
okay?
men are speaking
Please.
now.
For you to make an assumption about somebody, whether it be anything.
I was talking
can
in
I just
general. You
talk
took
for
it
5
personally.
seconds without
I just said you were
have-
being.
I'll be honest, you might have a lot more
That's
testosterone.
oh, here we go.
For you to make an assumption about somebody and their testosterone, because you might not like a
Did I say,
political
Brian,
opinion.
you have a testosterone
Yes,
problem?
you said it right over there.
Yeah.
I said
You said I have low
I said
testosterone.
we
now,
have a
that's fine. You can
testosterone
think that if you
problem
like.
in this country.
Oh, you also mentioned my name and you
No,
said
I
love
said
it.
you were being.
No, she definitely did, and he's 100% right here. She's making an assumption, and she can't defend this, so she's backpedaling.
Okay. You said I had low. So what is your definition of being?
You were hitting on Myron nonstop.
Okay.
I
So
feel very uncomfortable. Thank you. Thank you.
So let me be very clear on that.
Can you blame him?
I don't have a fetish for bigots or grifters, okay?
Seems
that's why you dated
So,
MAGA. That's why you dated a MAGA girl.
Number two, for you to assert that I am actually defending women and that I think they should be equal to men and they have the intellect to not,
You're
excuse
doing
me,
it
I'm
out
not
of
done yet.
emotion.
To be in the kitchen like Myron thinks, instead of having a job and having a career and being able to live their life they lives, if you think that women are a second-class citizen, then you're a and I want you to deport it to Gaza.
Yeah, women are not second-class citizens. Mothers specifically are not second-class citizens for valuing motherhood. That doesn't make you a second-class citizen by any stretch of the imagination. Not in any way. I hate this narrative. It's been pushed in propaganda and movies and pop culture all over the place. The woman that's doing the city thing and being promiscuous and sleeping with everybody is sophisticated and she's snarky and she comments back on guys and fights the patriarchy. But the woman who decides to prioritize family is always like shown as some woman who's being abused. She's miserable. She wants out of her situation. And that's just typically not the case. But it's how it's been shown and demonstrated in pop culture for so long because they've been trying to propagate this stuff. So this whole narrative and this idea that catering to your own family, literally the only people who actually value your life on the entire planet and whoever will, is somehow slavery or somehow second-class work or whatever it may be, is just that it's silly to me. Anytime people try to relate those two together, it's just silly. You definitely don't understand anything about motherhood or what it takes if you think that it's second-class to working at a factory or having a job as a manager at Burger King, which is most of the jobs that women do. To be honest.
Why
And that's a
Gaza?
better opinion.
Wait, why
That's a better
Gaza? So
opinion,
she can
right?
get
I'm
blown
supposed
up
to
by
feel
Israel?
That's a better opinion.
It's a very thing to say.
I may not agree, but I respect.
Clearly, I hit a nerve.
Here's the thing. Here's
A
the
little
thing. Let
emotional.
me be clear here. When we're talking
Here
about
comes the misogynist.
when
Here we
we're
go.
talking about women as human beings, we're not saying that they're lower from a human being.
You said
standpoint. If
second-class
anything,
citizen.
As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, I would say women are very important because they carry on the next lineage of children, so we must protect them. However, when it comes to the confinements of a relationship, men and women are absolutely not equal. And she understands this because she has a long-term relationship and it's
Equal
successful.
as how?
Because she understands
Mentally or
that her
physically?
man is a leader.
How are they
and
not
she
equal?
follows-
Physically, mentally, what?
Let me explain.
Be specific.
All the parameters that women look for in a man, typically based off the guy having higher status and higher strength, income, capacity, everything than her. Women don't seek their equals when it comes to a relationship.
You
This egalitarianism that you're talking about.
You make
it's false.
assumptions
Well,
how
I
every
think
woman in
Farrah would
society
agree.
thinks.
Women.
It's
I have a- I have a-
ridiculous.
He's not saying every woman. He's saying women in general. When he uses the word women, he's not saying every single woman as an absolute, because an absolute claim is insane. But yeah, he's saying the majority, and I think that that's objectively true.
Overwhelming majority of women want a guy that's 6 foot plus, 100,000 plus per year. Strong.
If not 6 foot plus, definitely taller than them, and some of them will specifically say taller than me in heels. That's normal. Like, let's be honest.
Wait,
Not every woman is materialistic.
Guys, I got a question for Myron and for Brian. Why do you think it is that there has never been a female chess world champion?
Well, I mean, there's also never been a female president. There's never been. There's a lot of things.
Thank God.
Hold on there, gosh darn minute. I asked you about chess, which any woman could enter the competition, and there's never been a world champ.
Sure. So I'll be the first one to admit I'm not a chess player. I don't know anything about chess. I would
Brain
imagine
game.
it's a
Doesn't surprise me.
I would imagine it's a brain game. Say, Tim, you could relate to this. You're a poker player.
Women never raise; they always call.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, you've never played against Annie Duke like I have. But anyway,
That's one woman.
All right,
Anyway,
hold on. So there are a lot of great female poker players.
Of course.
Yes.
Now, a woman has never won the main event. So here's the reason, in my opinion. There's a much smaller percentage of professional chess players and poker players than there are male. So I think you have to look at the percentage of it and say to yourself, if you have 300 female poker players and 8,000 male players in the World Series of Poker, the chances of a woman winning
I understand.
are far less.
Agreed. Now, hold on. The question then becomes, why won't women play chess?
Well, I don't speak for all women
Different
like apparently
interests.
Myron does, but I will tell you that
Women are generally more interested in people, and men are generally more interested in things. It's just general interest. And the thing about interest is you can't control your interest. But also on the scale of intelligence, there's a bell curve. And say if 100 is the median, there are a lot of women that are concentrated in the median of that bell curve, while men tend to occupy more of the extremes. So while there are dumb men, there are more dumb men on the planet than there are women. There are also more hyper-genius men on the planet than there are women. And those hyper-genius men tend to gravitate towards things like where they could be successful, like chess. So because men have more variability is the exact same reason why there are male murderers and serial killers, but also the same reason why men invent iPhones, because we're just broader on this bell curve while women tend to occupy more of the middle.
not as much as men.
Let me just say this. In most of these sporting events or
Well, sports are
even
different.
strategy,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's
That's a physical thing. That's different.
But so in poker, chess, and all things similar, even if we're talking about Pokemon or whatever.
Right.
The proportion of women who play is substantially lower, and it's comparable across the board in every one of these fields.
Yeah, I think that's
Why
probably
is
fair.
that?
Well, first of all, I'm not one of those lefty people that thinks that, WNBA players should be getting paid as much as men. That's absurd. I also have always said this. I said this on your show. I've said this on plenty of other shows. I do not believe that women should be in women's sports. I know I'm kind of, expanding here. But the point I'm trying to make to your original question is there's a smaller percentage of women professional chess players. than
I'm
there are
asking
men.
why. Why won't women play chess?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm
Is
not
it
going
because
to
men and women are
question.
fundamentally driven by different motives?
All right, guys. So we only have 10 minutes left.
I don't know
All
the
right.
answer to that,
All
Tim.
right,
I
all right.
really
Next
don't.
person, Clayton. Come on. What do you have for us, Clayton? Come on. Get on the mic. Clayton's right there. He's right there.
Men and women are different. That's why there are double standards. And sometimes nature is sexist. And pointing out that objective reality doesn't mean that you hate women. Let me know in the comments below if this video is a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's a help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.